Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Lorraine Taylor. This is the Do Brand You channel, and I'm really glad that you stopped by. This channel is all about you. It's about supporting you to unleash your potential in every season of life. Now, today is a Friday chat, and in the Friday chats, I just take you behind the scenes, share with you some things that I've been thinking about that have impacted how I'm living, how I navigate my pathway, some challenges and maybe solutions, different perspectives, inspiration, motivation. So that's what it's about. And so, for example, last week talked about building momentum by celebrating small wins. So if you want to check that out, you can check out last week's Friday chat. But today I want to talk about something that has really been a focus for me in the last couple of weeks. And it has to do with the U.S. election. Now, I don't dive into any politics here or anything like that, but I think we can take events like the U.S. election. I mean, the world has watched as this has happened, and we can learn some things. For those of you that don't know me that well, I'll just kind of give you a little bit of a backstory. So I did grow up in the United States. I was born in Denver, Colorado. I went to school in Boulder, Colorado. And I did leave in my 20s to go overseas to teach and to work. And I have never gone back to live in the United States. But of course, I still have family there and I still feel very connected to the place. I have rescinded my U.S. citizenship and I only have New Zealand citizenship now. And so that's kind of me, but that is my connection to the United States. And I know many of you have connections as well to the U.S. or are interested in what happened. Again, I'm not going to go into the politics of it, but I think from a factual point of view, we can look at this and say that the election was very close. It's quite 50-50. And we have people that have two very, very different viewpoints. And a lot of the comments coming out on social media today and people's reactions is they just are dumbfounded. They can't really believe how didn't see this coming, or there's where the information that they were getting. And that's the first thing I want to talk about today. That is this reality that we live in today, that we are all in our own little information silo. And we can just sit there and not be proactive and just be fed whatever information comes to us. When I was growing up in Colorado, there were only 3 TV stations. There was some radio stations that we got our information from. There were books in the library that we could check out or buy at the bookstore. And there were some newspapers that we could buy and learn different information from. But and the reality was that my family and friends, my teachers, the people in the community, we all got the same information. So it was quite easy to have conversations. We could disagree, but we were all getting the same information. So we kind of had this place. Today, there's this real big misconception that because we are globally connected, that we're getting the same information, and that is so untrue. And I think we need to really remember that. And when we talk here on the channel about unleashing your potential, growing into the best version of you, as you go through the different seasons of your life, it's really important to really check to make sure that you are proactively ensuring that you're getting not just one type of information, whatever the algorithms and digital data is just selecting for you, but that you're proactive about it. So that's one thing, this is Do Brand You. What can you do? Something that I have done ever since really 2010 when I started, getting my social media accounts and I started the YouTube channel and, all of a sudden we could read blogs. It's like all of a sudden I had access to all this different kinds of information and I would look and try to understand different things, especially living in different countries. I wanted to learn about different people and I wanted to be open to different perspectives. So I've always been somebody that has done that, and I have to make sure. So, for example, during this election, I looked at both sides of the issue. I would watch videos from different perspectives, and people even outside of the United States, what were their perspectives? What ideas did they have? So that's the first thing I really wanted to share with you today, that I think we can really take away from this election is we have to remember that just because we're globally connected does not mean that we're communicating. I think our communication as human beings is probably at its worst, and our ability to connect with anyone in the entire world is at its highest in human history. Well, that's not a really good thing, but what can we do? What can you do? You can ensure that you are proactively going out and listening to different viewpoints, and you are actively choosing the things that you have coming into your feed. So the second thing I wanted to talk about was something that hit me today. And of course, in any election, it's very emotional. It's very, emotionally charged, and there's a lot at risk, and and of course, we have the situation where everybody's in their own silos. So they're thinking one thing's going to happen. And so today, it's not surprising that you go on and you see a lot of people that, 50% of the people, at least in the United States, are saying things like they've lost hope. And to lose hope, even the incoming, party to a country, you don't want half of the country feeling hopeless. We don't want to work or live amongst people that just feel hopeless. That's not what we want in our world. That's not what we want in our communities. We don't want that to happen. And what I want to say about that is, yes, I can understand how events can happen and we can lose hope, not just for an election. We can lose hope when things happen. People get divorced and they lose hope in somebody else, or we find out people are cheating at something, or there are political events around the world and we lose our hope. But the thing is, and this is why I do this channel, is to keep reminding you that you have potential, and I want to support you to unleash that potential in each season of life that you go through. And so we have change as part of the world, changes in government, changes in things that happen. It's going to happen, but we don't need to lose hope, because we have potential in us. And the reality is that, big changes happen on national scale, global scale, sure. But real change happens at grassroots level. It happens one-to-one. It happens in communities, whether they're online communities, whether they're physical communities. That's where real change happens. And you have potential. I shared on another video about how I recently planted my garden here in New Zealand, and I planted some seedlings. So they started where I could see the plant already when I put it in the ground, but I also planted seeds, and those seeds represent potential. And maybe you can't see the potential in you. Maybe that potential is hidden under the ground and it hasn't sprouted yet, but you have potential and you have gifts and talents to share. And you can make the world a better place. Regardless of what side you are on in this election, I think as humans, we want to stop the division and create more peace and harmony, because that's the only real way forward. So you have potential, you have gifts and talents, and never ever forget that. And don't forget that real deep change happens one-on-one at grassroots level. So start dreaming about what you can do. The last thing I wanted to talk about is the power of open conversations. So not only that you choose to get information from different sources, but also that you choose to give space to people to learn their ideas. So you actively hold space for people to share their ideas. Now, what I found in this election is that when I went on to some channels, people are very defensive. And if, they would just criticize other people for no reason because they thought differently. And it gets down to, that's where all the horribleness of our human race comes out. We don't like them because their skin is different, because they have a different sexual preference, because they have a different religion, because they have different values, because they're different. But the reality is, don't ever forget this. There's more that unites us together as human beings than separates us. But we have to choose to focus on that. Yeah? And the power of open conversations. One of the most grateful things I have is that when I was raising my two young daughters when they were really young and started primary school, is that we were living in Dubai. And they went to a primary school with 35 different nationalities. And that was normal for them. It was normal to have people of all different religions and cultures and languages and beliefs and ways of doing things and different perspectives. This is normal, And so I think that, and the thing is, everybody got along. Everybody was fine, because as humans, we can get along. It's in our DNA to do that. So I really encourage you to be open. Remember, I know that one thing that people want more than anything else is to be heard. As parents, that might be choosing to listen to your kids. I have really, really open conversations with my kids. I don't expect them to believe what I believe. I'm interested in what they believe. I want them to be able to back up with what they believe. I want them to be able to defend, to give me reasons for that. And I want them to be open to listening to me too. And so whether it's your kids, whether it's your friends, whether it's your partner, your husband, your wife, whatever it is, we want to have those open conversations. So that's what I wanted to share with you. That's what I kind of got out of this U.S. election. I think a lot for us here at the Do Brand You channel to think about, well, what would I do moving forward this week? So let me just highlight those key points again. So the first one is to break out of your information silo. And I encourage you to, in whatever way, go onto some channels, go onto some things and listen to people. Subscribe to people that are really open to having open conversations. Here on the Do Brand You channel, I have a podcast called In Conversation With, and I do it because I want to listen to other people's ideas and understand what makes them tick and do that. Go and listen to some of the great conversations on this channel. Number 2 is remember that potential is in you, just like the seed. And if you can't see it, then there's potential there. And if there's any reason that you've lost hope or you feel sad about the way things are in the world for whatever reason, remember that there's potential inside of you. And if it's like a seed that you haven't seen sprout yet, don't worry, it's there and it's going to sprout. Nurture it. Find people to help you. And then the last one is just to hold space for people and really work on the conversations in our world today. Like I said, I think our ability to have great conversations can not be very good sometimes. I know I have to check myself. I can get opinionated. I can want to push my viewpoint too, and I need to remember to hold space for people and to listen to different perspectives and to just enjoy doing that. And also that that people want to be heard, and let's give people a chance to be heard. Let's learn from each other. Let's make the connections. Let's find out what unites us instead of what divides us. So thanks a lot for joining me today. I would love to hear what you are going to be doing this week. Go ahead and pop that in the comments below. And enjoy navigating your true north and honor your values and blossom in your uniqueness. Inspire hope in the people around you. So have a great weekend. Have a great week ahead, and I'll see you on the next video.